convergence of intelligent capital and autonomous AI. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Aura8. I hope I'm not too loud with my regular energy because I had a coffee shop. And Akash, you still have to figure out your life, bro.
Yes, man. This is amazing. Hello, everybody. Welcome. While our lovely host is sharing more about us, I'm figuring out how to share this link as well. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Tell me, where do you want to send it? We'll still have people coming in. So I see two shares on LinkedIn and one share on Instagram. I'm assuming Akash has shared it both on LinkedIn and Instagram. Where do you have also connected it on LinkedIn, right? Right?
Yes, I will share it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, it is already shared, I think. Wait, let me check. Akash James, Akash James, and Claude Singapore community. You are live. Okay. Okay, let's get this party started now. For everyone watching us out there, and just in case if you're new, my name is Vaibhav Ali. I'm the co-founder of Cryptonite.ae. We are a crypto AI stablecoin agentic AI media firm based out of Dubai, and we go live every single weekday, and we bring in the best minds in the space of AI, crypto, stablecoins, RWA. Some of our past guests have been guys like Yatsu, the chairman of Animoca. We have had Reeve Collins, the co-founder of USDT. We have then had the co-founder of Bitcoin.com, so on and so forth, right? And the objective of every conversation is the future of money. The world is moving at a speed and the world is moving in a direction that none of us know about. If anybody tells you that they know the direction that the world is moving, they are either bullshitting or they are actually God. So with me, I have today Fred. Fred is the community head for Cloud Singapore and Web3 Singapore. Fred, what's up, buddy? How's it going?
It's very good, my friend. So over here in Singapore, I have good news for you as well.
Bring
Cloud
it on.
Singapore is not just Cloud Singapore anymore, because we have also opened up a Cloud Indonesia chapter. We are opening up a Cloud Vietnam chapter by the end of this month, and we are in talks for Sri Lanka, India, Hong Kong, and a few more other countries. Which the rest are too much in the pipeline, but these are the ones in immediate pipeline at this moment.
See, remember I told you that I want to help you here in Dubai, and also want to, I can clearly help you in India because I'm from India and very well familiar with the entire ecosystem and the network. But that's for another call. But tell me right now, what cool stuff have you been doing in Singapore? Because I feel. So, by the way, I'm really familiar with the term Chindian. Okay.
Yes.
Because I've spent a lot of time in Singapore, a lot of time in Hong Kong, a bit of time in China. And the reason why I'm saying this is that unfortunately for whatever political tension that India had with China, we never looked at China as a massive superpower.
Okay.
We looked at China saying that, okay, where you get cheap and good stuff, because that is what we saw of China while growing up. But when I went to China, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind to an extent. I was like, was I living under a rock? Right? Though we knew that our phones are made in China, though we knew,
Yeah.
our laptops are made in China, our TVs are made in China, but for some reason, right, we were kind of blinded that China makes cheap stuff. After that, when I went there and I saw the culture of then the world's most populous country, now India has taken over, the world's most populous country, I think the civic sense, even at a city like Kunming, is incredible. Of course, Shenzhen is amazing. Shenzhen looks like it is not on planet Earth. But the point that I'm going to is that I've seen videos of people running agents on the laptop, attending seminars, irrespective of the age, but they're into the technology, right? And I'm sure that trickle down effect has happened throughout. You mentioned Vietnam. I've hosted ETH Vietnam. I've been a part of the Vietnam community of crypto. You spoke about Indonesia. By the way, my very dear friend is the Minister of Creativity, Vice Minister of Creativity in Indonesia. She happens to be an ex-Web3 founder. And the way and also Indonesia, like India, has got massive numbers, right? Yeah, even back in the day of the Web3 gaming, we saw how Indonesia and the Philippines and Vietnam were, all there to make what's the game? Why am I forgetting the game? Which was the Web3 play to one game, that card thing?
Yeah, yeah. The very famous one by Animoca also. Yes, I know.
I even worked with them. How can I forget the name?
Yeah, because it's too long. It's been so recent, but it's been too
Ronin.
long.
Ronin is the token, or Soft Love Potion is the token. I'm forgetting the game.
Yeah, we know. I know.
Somebody,
we know what we have.
somebody please comment down. Somebody please comment down and tell me. And I just realized, one second, guys, 1 second. With all the talking and conversation, I did not go live on Binance, which is the main thing. So I'm so sorry. Hold on.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Yeah,
How do we see who is?
Because that is if they comment, I can tell you who's commenting. But wait 1 second. Okay. Okay, we are live on Binance. Oops. Okay. So, we see the amazing numbers and we see the amazing support. Tell us, how is the Singapore community behaving? Because I'm a big fan of Lee Kuan Yew. I think what he's done with Singapore is amazing. I just don't like to live in Singapore because of just one reason. Can you guess what is the reason?
Too many rooms.
Right?
Expensive.
Just this. Just this.
Yeah. Hey, this one hard, but this one also very expensive. I think it's $20.
Very expensive. $14. 20 now.
Yeah. It went up. I think US dollars is around 16 to 18 US dollars a pack.
Yeah. So, Fred, tell me, what do you think is the DNA of Singaporeans, right? How are they evolving, and how accepting are they towards this new technology?
Okay, so a bit of introduction about Singapore is that to AI is that the government is very forward in pushing AI adoption in the whole of Singapore. To understand why Singapore is doing this is because Singapore as a nation, we are tiny. We are a dot. If you look in the map, we are a dot, literally a dot. And we have no natural resources. So that we have no agriculture, we have no primary production. So our main source of, I would say, national resource would be the human resource, human capital. So that's why I was young, from many years ago, I don't know if it's Lee Kuan Yew or which minister or whoever dictated it. They wanted to go hard on human resource and making sure that Singaporeans are very well educated and then also get exposed to world-class leaders and businesses. So I think in Singapore that's our edge. I do not think Singaporeans are particularly as a human species we are smarter than more intelligent than anybody else. However, because we are exposed to so many people and world class companies and leaders, they think as such, and they compete with each other at that level. So I think I'm very fortunate, blessed to be in such an environment. And one more thing also, Singapore is evolving so fast. The reason is also Singapore is tiny. So Singapore has a lot of world leaders, no, not just world leaders, enterprise leaders based in Singapore. So they are based in Singapore. It's a whole lot of reasons: political reasons, financial reasons. The government give money, blah 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 blah. Blah. Okay, and that attracts all the companies to come be in Singapore, open AI, Cursor, and all that. But what is overlooked is that because Singapore is so small and the main companies are here, we will have the opportunity to get to know everyone. Therefore, if anyone wants to situate a business here and want to do whatever industry, whatever vertical it is, you get to know the market makers extremely sooner than if you are living in another country. Yeah.
I would totally agree with that. I've been to Singapore, I think 7 or 8 times till now, and I know almost all the VCs, specifically in the crypto space. I know a lot of leaders out there, and Singapore specifically, I think it's very close to my heart because the way Singapore has grown from the world's largest slum. Yes, 50 years ago, Singapore was the world's largest slum. A few days ago, I had my friends, community leaders from Malaysia. I had Harpreet, who is the head of Bitcoin Malaysia and Access Malaysia. I was pulling his leg, saying that, how do you guys feel also Singapore is the first country that was given independence on its own. Like they were forced to take it. Like, please, we don't want you. Go away. And there is one thing that's
We
close to
got
my
force,
heart.
we got force.
Everybody,
In a good way, in a good way.
I want everybody out there, once this live is done, I will remind you again. I'll try to remind you again. But go and check out this YouTube video where Lee Kuan Yew is addressing the staff of Singapore Airlines who actually went on strike. I think by far it is one of the best and one of the most underrated speeches by a prime minister. We always talk about Winston Churchill. We always talk about Abraham Lincoln. We talk about the greats in the world, but listen to his speech, the way he delivers. I've never ever seen that ever happen again in my life. So that's my love for Singapore, and of course I love the food in Chinatown and the hawker stalls.
The link, because even I didn't know, I didn't watch the links. As a
Shame on you,
Singaporean.
friend. this conversation is over. Okay. But now let's actually dive into and let's find out that there are a lot of videos online that says Claude made me a millionaire. Claude made me $10,000 while I was sleeping. Claude made me $20,000, while I was sleeping. Now you, Fred, tell me, are these clickbait titles for a lot of people to know about it, or is it really happening?
Okay, so first of all, we have to check our sources. Yeah. Okay, this one for everyone. Okay, I know, but we need to educate everyone. Sources, whatever you read online, might be true, might not be true. So they can say they earn $1 million, they lost a lot of money on token usage. We not lose. We don't know how true is that. And even if it's true, so if it's true, that's great. If it's not true, then yeah, you found yourself another source. Because I want to reiterate this, because it's very clickbaity. People are farming for views, for clicks, and articles like these gain the most views. So you need to know and be aware what are real and unreal. Yeah. So if it's real, okay, let's go with if it's real. Okay. So that's the fun part, right? Okay. So if it's real, earn X money a month, or whatnot, I think it's possible. I still think it's possible, but it doesn't happen to a lot of people. Yeah, you have to know that it's not like 10 people do it, like 10 people that get it, like 8 people that get it. No, I think it's really like a one in I don't even know, 100 or even more. I don't know what's the statistics in this, but it takes a while. Not everything you can be done immediately and then sent out and then shipped and deployed and start earning, especially if you're as a SaaS model. um, I have my friend. I have a few mentees. What I did was slightly longer. We are building apps, the different game apps or functionality apps, productivity apps. And then my goal to them is that build 10 apps. You don't have to earn a lot of money per app. Try to have an app to a certain audience that you think you can earn $1,000 a month. 10 apps is $10,000, and $10,000 is equivalent to a lot of people's full-time jobs already. So try to get that done first, and then you can do other things as well. As because it's not just about building. Because when people start, you not so sure how to build a lot of things as well. So the first-hand app is not only just for you to earn the money. Secondly, is for you to learn actually how to build and how to deploy. Yeah. So all these things are the technical and of course the sustainability part. Welcome,
You know,
Akash.
you know, uh, you know what Fred did over here? He actually exposed a lot of founders in San Francisco. This is what I've heard, that in San Francisco, you'll have majority of the guys working on 5 different projects simultaneously, because when you're working on one project, it might take off, it might not take off. But in the space of and in the day and era of agentic AI, they're running 5 different startups at the same time, and whichever takes off, they would ride that. So I think that's a great idea. Let's bring in Akash. I'm glad that now the internet is working. For everybody watching there, I'm a little biased towards Akash, is because I know him since he was a small child, or like a school going kid. I met him at a training program. Somehow we got connected on Facebook, and I kept seeing him, trying some really cool stuff with robotics. And then, he went on to California, did some interesting stuff. So when I was planning this, and when I spoke to Fred, and then, Akash's profile came into my view, and I was like, hey, you know what? We should have Akash. It'll be interesting to talk about his journey. But Akash, let me tell you something. Really proud of what you have done, because I've met you when you were a small. At what class were you? 8th or 9th, I think, when I met you.
I think it was 7th grade. I think
Yeah,
7th or 8th
yeah,
grade. Yeah,
yeah. So
it's a long
tell
time
us
ago.
what. Yeah, well, I would like to believe that. But tell me, what cool stuff have you done in your life? Give us a quick breakdown. Make sure to give us the spicy bit, because if you try to give us everything of your breakup and and all of that, then people will fall asleep. So make it impactful. This is your chance. Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'll keep it technical, right? We'll try to avoid the other kind of spicy information. But yeah, so I guess I kind of did my engineering in computer science, and it was pretty fascinating to kind of write your own code and see the machine do something that you want it to do, right? So I think engineering is 4 years long, and since the first year I started taking part in a lot of hackathons. And back then I was working a lot into the Internet of Things. So it was all about getting these sensors, getting these microcontrollers, putting together like circuits, and just coding them, right? So uh, uh, it basically gave me the feeling of a god, right? You kind of can control machines. And I guess I started off my career in the Internet of Things, but quickly transitioned to AI. And I was a part of this organization called Integration Wizards. I joined there as an intern, but I kind of introduced the idea of AI there. And from the point where I introduced AI, it took us 4 years to get acquired by another company, right? So that's where I was able to kind of chisel my skills and kind of build these applications that were used that are used in the real world, right? And my focus was mainly computer vision. And
Did you have some equity during the exit?
Yes, I did.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So I mean, my the leaders at the company were they're absolutely great, and they did see my growth. And as I was kind of climbing up the ladder, they did keep giving me equity. And when we got acquired,
and I'm assuming your leaders were from US or they were Indians.
no, they were all Indians. That's
Okay.
the thing, right? Yeah, and I'm still working with them. So the organization I'm working at right now, Blue, it's more or less with the same set of folks. And the focus has been generative AI. We are trying to build applications that people can use. That kind of help them in their daily stuff. It's more focused on B2B. So most of our clientele are large organizations, and we kind of help them optimize their shop floors, give them insights that they would never get through CCTV cameras. And all of it is now run with agents.
Brilliant. Now, Akash, are you still in Bangalore or have you moved to US? What's your location?
So I was for a year in the US. I was a visiting researcher at UC Berkeley. Essentially they saw that I was working into detection of wildfires, early detection of wildfires, and they kind of invited me over to research there for a year. Now I'm back in India.
Okay. Akash, tell me something. There are a lot of us in India who have no fucking idea what agentic AI is, right? The only AI that we know is perhaps ChatGPT, because there was so much of noise around ChatGPT. I've been in Web3 for a very long time, but for Web3 or blockchain to hit 1 million searches was about 10 years or 8 years. But for ChatGPT to hit was 11 days, 1 million searches, right? Which really speaks about what is the need of the hour. And a lot of us actually, maybe even Fred, because Fred is also the Web3 Singapore chapter lead. Earlier, we saw a lot of people moving from being a Web3 specialist to an AI specialist, right? We saw a huge range, and then we were just laughing our guts out internally because we knew, right? It's just a fancy title to get more eyeballs.
Everybody is not AI expert.
Yeah.
Right? I think this was, I think, two years ago. I think when ChatGPT had just come in, we quickly saw all these guys, changing their designations on LinkedIn and stuff. But then, Akash, I'm really really passionate about this, right? In India, we are the most populous country in the world. We are the most youngest country in the world. But what is happening to us? And I say this with a really heavy heart. I say this with a really heavy heart. We are not paying attention to agentic AI. We are paying focus, onto something really that perhaps is not worth it. For Fred, if he doesn't have context, India, for some reason, I choose not to tell you. You can Google it, or I'll tell you offline.
Actually,
Tell me, Akash.
I've been.
Yeah.
Sorry, interrupt.
No, go
I
ahead,
say
go
a little bit first, before I can just a little bit. I've been to a lot of countries recently, visiting a lot of countries to discuss with different tech leaders and developers, DevRels, to make things to discuss about this AI gap in their countries. So there's a lot of political insights. There's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of like mistrust. So a lot, but also I think mainly there is a lack of leadership to guide in how to use. However, once you place someone to lead, you can see the impact immediate. Like the people are hungry, but you just need somebody there to start something. Like for example, last week I started the Indonesia chapter. So it was a full. I don't know anyone. I just had a partner over there. Blah 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 blah. And then we did our first event, and it was full. It was packed. It was full and packed, and we have a waiting list of more than almost 100. So it's a lot, a lot. And then I'm anticipating the same thing for my next Vietnam chapter as well. And today, people talking to me to do Hong Kong, asking me to do Malaysia because OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, they all have presence in all the countries.
They
Yeah.
also they have the data centers in Malaysia. I've been working. In fact, this Friday we are going to have somebody from the Malaysian government come in and talk about Islamic finance. Well, it's $1 trillion industry, and not a lot of people have touched it.
Yes, they are trying to push
So,
a data center. And also the special economic zone, which they're trying to push a lot these days. I also talked to the government, I think late last year. Yeah.
right.
So but there's a whole thing I can talk about. So you all continue first.
Yeah. So India did this very massive AI event. We had the Anthropic guys come in. We had the Sam Altman come in. We had all these major tier 1 guys come in. But we saw what a shit show it was, right? For someone like me who has been to events all over the world, Singapore Token 2049, Dubai Token 2049, we have like 25,000-30,000 people, right? Singapore MBS is like jam packed. Like you can't even step into MBS. But then with everything happening in India, do you think? And by the way, I'm not talking to you about the tier 1 cities. I'm not talking to you about Bangalore. I'm not talking to you about Bombay. I'm not talking to you about all of that. See, Bangalore recently saw a big Y Combinator event with Emergent.
Yeah,
right? I'm not talking to you about that. But I'm talking to you about what is really happening in the majority of the India. Are we paying attention to it, or we're just talking about something else? And
so
please be
I
direct.
think, this is like my perspective on it, right? And I think it's a mix of socio-emotional, geographical reasons out here, right? So I think India is slower to adopt technology, and I'm specifically referring to B2C here, right? So we'll just take an example of Uber, right? Or like basically booking any kind of a taxi through your phone, and the adoption was pretty slow. And then once people kind of get used to the concept, and then we end up being the biggest market for that specific niche, right? So that's essentially what it is with AI as well. I mean, another example could be like Amazon, or an Indian equivalent, which is Flipkart, right? So ordering stuff off the internet, and people would say that don't do it. You're going to get fake stuff. You're going to get stuff that's broken, or it's not trustworthy, and so on, right? And people would still prefer going to the store. But we're seeing that shift right now, where India, while it is slow to adopt technology, it also kind of gives out some of the best versions of technology, right? So that could be like UPI, or it could be like hyper fast delivery like Blinkit and Instamart right now, right? So I think that's where we are with AI. I was at AI Summit as well, and I've been to a lot of many iterations of GTC, right, in San Jose. So I could like kind of compare both of them. I think the West right now is a very mature market in terms of how to drive these technologies, and when it comes to like India, they're not, we're still very new, so they're still figuring out how to do it. And given the scale of people here, it's just hard to convince everyone, right? And then you kind of sprinkle in the different kind of languages that exist here, and it becomes almost impossible for everyone to adapt the same version of technology, right? So there's at least like 30 different languages or accents that are really popular, and then you have the minor versions as well. Now if you need to get like like a 40-year-old using AI, it's going to take a while, because AI has to adapt to them. And we have gone from like our parents telling us that don't use your phones, you're getting addicted to them right now scrolling Instagram reels, right? It took them a while. We have been doing it for years at this point, and they just adapted now. So it's all about understanding the customer, right? I think that's all it falls to. Once you understand what the customer wants, it's just easy to build technology. And I don't think the simple philosophy of copy pasting it from a different market makes sense here. It has to be really tailored for India. I think
Makes
that's
sense.
where uh, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say, like, even as if you want to like compare with another large economy that's like China, I think one of the advantages they have there is that they are open to new technology. Plus, there's no language barrier. There's, they don't have as many languages as we do. I mean, within their own country. Yeah,
Okay.
not between us, but
Yeah, yeah.
within their own country. So it's easier, right? So
I've always said this. So two things I've said this multiple times. Uh, First is that India is not a country, right? Not just a country. India is like a continent, and that's why we call it a subcontinent, right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
uh, for easy example, for people who perhaps are not from India, India is like Europe. Every state in India is a total different country on its own. Different language, different food, different dialects, different clothing, different cultures. That's how rich we are in terms of all of that. With that comes problems. With that comes opportunities. But the way we look at Indian market. So for a lot of people who don't know, I was India's first midnight food home delivery service. I started delivering food. Akash would remember delivering food after 11 o'clock because in Bangalore, which is the IT hub of India, the Silicon Valley of India, but restaurants were shut down at 11 p.m. No matter where you are or what you are. And then I saw a loophole there, and I figured out, this is a great opportunity to start this. And then I moved to Mumbai, I moved to Hyderabad with the branches and stuff. And India has the potential, just that I think we lack the mindset. And I really hope that people listening to this are moving in the direction of quick adoption and not just blaming or saying that, oh, look at him, he did it for a different reason. uh, Fred, let me come to you now, and let me ask you, with all the amazing work that you're doing in the ASEAN countries, which is my favorite part of the world because I spend a lot of time there. I love the food, I love the people, and let's talk about, for somebody to master Claude, right? Uh, it could be Claude, it could be Olama, it could be ChatGPT. Though personally not a big fan of ChatGPT. Gemini, Grok, big fan of Grok because it talks to you like a human, right? You want it to talk to you like a friend in an abusive tone. It will talk to you like that. It would use the F's and B's that perhaps is a part of our vocabulary. Google is like very proper, very corporate, and would not give you most of the things that you need. With all of these LLM models that we see between the open source and the paid ones, I think the difference is only about 10% here and there. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Sorry, what you
Right.
mean by the 10%?
I said between the Opus 4.8 now, which is the latest model. Yeah, with Opus 4.8 and with Twin 2.5 or 3 now, the difference when you see, it's not a lot of difference, right? There is a difference, but it's like tiny bit of difference. For me, the way I would like to say it for our users, it's like going to Burj Khalifa's 124th floor versus the 144th floor. The 144th floor is the VIP floor where you pay 500 dirhams versus 200 dirhams for the 128th floor. But then when you actually go to the 144th floor, you realize the difference is not a lot.
Okay, so regarding this point, this one, everybody got their own little takes on this. So my take, just to everybody, this is my take, okay? Don't kill me. So, so is that I believe that all the different LLMs and their models have different specializations. Yeah. So Codex and code, I believe they are both, of course, for code, but I believe both are really good. But I think they have, I'm not so sure what are the differences, but I'm really sure that there are some core differences when it comes to their approach to coding. So a lot of people, so for example of these two, yeah, a lot of people use one to build something and one to audit the whatever that something is built. For example, like if I use code to build, they use Codex to audit what Codex built. A lot of people have this dual system for the more serious developers. And then, of course, some people use Kimi, if you Minimax and Quen. All of them got little slightly different usages and also token the cost. Yeah. So Kimi is well known for the low cost, and of course, if for me, I use a lot. Sometimes I even use Gemini just for kicks, for polishing my emails and whatnots, because it's just what do you call it, convenient on my phone, Android phone, which I think that's quite good. Then I don't like
What
to
do you
use Gemini sometimes to polish out emails and stuff because it's convenient on the phone. And then, but I don't use ChatGPT to do polishing of emails or my event descriptions because somehow
it sounds very robotic. You're true.
Yeah, it's not, you know exactly this is AI already. Yeah, you have a certain language. So
let me tell this to everyone out there. We all know that you use AI. Even I use AI for my descriptions and everything. But don't make it obvious, right? Like it shouldn't be like when you read it, you're like, "Fuck it, dude!" Like AI, right? Let it not scream AI.
Yeah, I need to copy something. So the thing is, right, for posts nowadays, for me, my personal posts, I don't even use AI now. And I litter my post with spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes and lowercase on purpose. So it's very funny, right? So it's a reverse thing. So last time we used to try to avoid that. But now I purposely input into my thread or my post so that people know this as human. So a very interesting take as well.
No, this is a very interesting take. Yeah, go ahead, Akash.
I think, Weber, what you brought up, right, that we all use AI. I think what people also need to understand that AI is a tool. It's not a replacement, and it's not something that can do your tasks completely for you. You will have to steer it. You'll have to move it around, right? I think I can like broadly
not for too long with agentic AI. Not for too long with agentic AI. Because once agentic AI gets the context. So I'll tell you something. I've been using Animoca Minds. Now it is called Hello Minds. They just reached 10,000 active monthly users, and I know those guys very well. Let me get out. With Cryptonite.ae, all our partnership emails are sent out by the agent. I don't send any partnership emails to any events any longer. And it just keeps doing its work. So it sent it sent a partnership request to somebody and to an event in France. And you know what they did? They actually just replied back saying that, hey, if you want to buy the pass, this is where it is, just buy the pass. My agent, what my agent replied? Okay, it is reverse mirror image. Now my agentic AI replied, this is not a spray and pray audience. It is a concentrated Web3 native user and builder base on Binance Live, because we have 108K followers on Binance, and our videos touch anywhere between 100K to 500K on our live, which on this live, which is precisely the audience that will care about your event's name, crypto AI frontier tech content. If this is interesting, we can lock a 20 minutes call next week with your media and sponsorship team to hammer out the exact format and topics. Beat that. Now, this is exactly what I would have even replied. The reason being, when you ask for a partnership, you revert back saying that, hey, let's figure out, or we don't have enough time and stuff like that. But then straight away you send out saying that, hey, you know what, if you want to buy the ticket, here's the link. And I became a fan of this, right? So Akash, what you're saying, I think is no longer valid, because agentic AI is doing things on its own. The moment you give it context and the moment because HelloMind specifically is persistent. You make sure that keep sending 10 emails every day to the global Web3 crypto AI events. It's doing it on its own, and then when they respond, they respond back, and they close the detail. They close the deals for you. And the time
But
is not
you
far
know,
where I would be talking to Fred's agent, and Fred's agent will be talking to my agent, and these two guys will figure out the details and would just come back to us either on a Telegram bot or on email saying that, hey, you know what, we spoke to Fred from Singapore Cloud Community. They have agreed to be the partner. They are looking at 3 articles and 4 lives. The details. That is what is going to happen. Good, Akash.
so the way I look at it, I still look at it like a tool, right? Because
It is a
if you were to send out a message, let's say a few decades ago, you would have to post it, and then came an email that completely skipped a lot of hoops, and it made it really easy for you to communicate with people. Now you just have technology that's also doing communication for you, right? There might be a point where again, this is just hypothetical, but you're thinking about something and your agent absolutely knows what you're thinking, and you don't even have to communicate with your agent anymore, right? That's probably the next logical step into communicating with machines, right? So at the end of the day, you still do drive it. Like, your agent is not going to figure out your career, or it's not going to figure out what you should be doing, at least on a long-term stuff. And yeah, it's sure, it might decide that you need to eat
Fred.
specific
What do you think? Can Claude do that? Can Claude
So-
decide what you should be doing in the future?
The problem is Claude, right? They care about safety too much. So because the larger companies, LLMs, right? They need. I understand why lah. They need to care about the safety aspect. There's a lot of guardrails. So when it comes to autonomous agents and autonomous all kinds of workflows, there are certain barriers. That's why we program certain things and certain external plugins or connectors to enable what we actually want to do with our, for example, Claude or Codex or whatever. Yeah, but if you want fully autonomous, there are also a lot of emerging companies out there who have Series A funding, Series B funding. There's Zoe Computer I met recently. Today is Simula. I met a company called Simula, which also doing something like that. And then, of course, the Hermes and the OpenClaw. These are the famous ones. But because OpenClaw is so technical, a lot of people cannot go in. So that's why all these companies are popping up with a good GUI with the same functionality. So it's a lot out there right now.
So I'm not a technical guy, but I come from the city of Bangalore, and one of my regrets back then I had was not learning how to code. But apparently, learning how to code is one of the worst advices you can give in 2026 to anybody. It is just a bit lower. It is a bit higher than getting a face tattoo. So I can tell you, Fred, get a face tattoo, but I should not tell you to go and learn how to code in 2026. Apparently, right? It may be true, it may not be true, but then the way things are looking, it's pretty much that. But tell me something. The way we
we cannot discount our coders. I mean, like traditional coders and developers. Okay, guys. Okay, we'll not be flamed. Please don't flame us. They are very awesome, and nothing of this will not be possible without the developers at its core. And of course, we also need the developers to do code auditing at the end of every serious project. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
I think one more thing is the architecture of the entire, service or software that you're creating. That's something that, still needs human input.
Risk experts say learning to code is now the worst advice. It's now worse advice than get a face tattoo. Could be a meme.
But what I'm curious about is actually what is the face of coding 40 years from now. So you say don't learn to code. Learning to code is bad. Okay, so developers now, they know how to code, they learn to code. And then come with AI, So what is the playbook? The playbook is you have the foundations, and then you use AI to aid, correct? So you become good. But in the
I
future,
would,
if you don't
Fred,
have the
I would disagree with you.
then how? I'm just wondering, what is it
Okay,
going to look like?
okay. First thing, let me tell you this, that um, when I was setting my open claw, because my MacBook, so I was sitting on the MacBook that I use, and not on VPS or a Mac Mini, because I wanted to see, if I really need it, or I should get a VPS. There were so many options. In fact, there are still so many options. So I said, okay, let me try on my Mac. If it works, and if it works great, then let me go for a VPS or buy a Mac Mini, either of the one. Now I'll tell you what happened with me. I spent about 4 days, 18 hours a day, and I slept right next to my system, and I work out of my home office. I could have gone to my bedroom. I chose not to go to my bedroom. I slept on the floor, but I wanted to get the open claw running. I went back and forth multiple times because I didn't have the homebrew installed, wrong commands, and I was setting up a slightly technical stuff, not a regular agent, right? I wanted the agent to do multiple tasks because I wanted it to be like useful to me and not just being there for the heck of it. I used Grok and I used Gemini, and I was able to set it up. And I have no freaking idea of coding. I am paying attention to the bash and the slash and the few commands and all of that on my terminal so that I'm aware of what I'm doing. But other than that, I didn't have to call anybody. In fact, Fred, remember I sent you a message saying that, hey bro, I need your help. But then you responded to me next day saying that, yeah, I was busy, right? Because, I was trying to understand how to get this done. And I did it without any help from anybody who knows coding. And I feel the future of code now is going to be voice, right? It
Yep.
is all going to be voice. You tell them that make me an app like StreamYard or a social media where I only get guys with face tattoo on, and it would do that for you. And when you tell it to test it, it would test it and deliver the end product to you. I think that is what the future of coding is going to be, because we all know this for sure. Just in case if our audience doesn't know, AI is only getting better from here, right? If you think, oh, AI is not doing my job properly, it's not good, it is only getting better because we come from the time where your AI agent didn't know anything from 2025 onwards or 2024 onwards. Back in the day, Chat GPT had a very limited memory. And today, what we are doing is unbelievable. I think it is empowering us to do more work. It is empowering us to do multiple more things. And at
We come a
times, yeah,
long
go
way
ahead.
from the Will Smith spaghetti video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, the Will Smith spaghetti video. And now I look at Chinese dramas, those shorts, which is all on AI. They're not getting actors. They just have AI. It is flimsy. It is not great, but unbelievable, unbelievable. The views on it, the monetization on it is unbelievable. Fred, to all the people that you talk to in Vietnam, to all the people that you talk to in Indonesia, now I've spent a good amount of time in both these countries. Bali is like my second home. I've never been to Jakarta, but spent a lot of time in Bali because of Confest Asia and the Web3 community there. Even in Vietnam because of Web3 events. Tell me this, that all these guys who are working over there, and like, what do you think they should be paying attention to? Should they be paying attention to building apps? Should they be paying attention to building websites? Like, what should they do?
Guys, right now, a lot of countries like Indonesia, like Philippines, like Vietnam, they are very good country to start something in because you have the first movers advantage. Of course, there's already a lot of things going on. There's a lot of recent hype, but these are still recent hype. If you still enter into, if anybody in that country is there, if you start something now, all right, you are still considered the first pioneer batch of AI in that country. Okay, Singapore, I think I am in the still within the end of the first pioneer batch, but soon I think by Q3 will be considered the next wave will be coming to Singapore. But for other countries, I think you have a very huge advantage now. Start something and don't think about it, just do. Like legit, just start something. And whether it's a community or even just a small little meetup to discuss things, right? You can really get first movers advantage.
And just to add on to what Fred said over here, I understand there is a barrier. There is an entry fee to get into AI. If you have a half-ass decent laptop, download Olama, right? Sorry, yeah, download Olama, download, Quen 2.5 or something that works according to your RAM, and explore. Don't wait that, okay, I will buy my subscription. I understand that $20 in countries like Indonesia, in countries like Vietnam, or maybe even countries like in India, for youngsters, it could be quite a bit of amount. But don't wait for it. Having a good laptop, having like, it is the basic need. Unfortunately, this is how it works. But don't don't stick behind. Don't, and in fact, you can even get a Raspberry Pi and run some models there. So please don't wait. If you're going to wait, like in sales, they would used to say earlier that if you're waiting, then you're just watching the bus go past by you. And don't be that. Be in the space of getting hands on. Fail as much as you can, because this is the golden era of failing and learning. Because the way the world is moving, the direction that it is moving and the speed it is moving is unbelievable. It has never happened in human history. Yeah, people say, when computers came in, banking had a problem, they had to adopt and all of that. Here, you don't have to adopt. Here, you are dead, right? You're just out of the workforce. You have to figure out, and most importantly, have a mindset that is ironclad. You need to build an entrepreneur mindset, because soon we are going to see companies with single person multi-agent running a multi-million dollar revenue company. We are going to see it no matter what. So for everybody out there watching us, remember this. Fred and Akash, let me ask you guys, what is a good stack to have to build a multi-million dollar revenue single person company via AI agents?
I guess, having you need your team. Your team doesn't need to be as big as it used to be before. Having the right set of agents running for you. So I think understanding software engineering is really important, because you have a lot of agentic tools out there, but they're not pre-configured for you to start coding the way you're supposed to be doing, like auditing your code, checking for vulnerabilities, yada yada, right? So those are the kind of things that need to be kind of looked at, right? And in terms of the specific libraries themselves, that really depends on what kind of application that you're trying to kind of put together. But again, when you're developing, Olama is great. When you're going into production, something like VLLM to host your model, have some kind of a agent orchestrator. You have Crew AI, you have LangGraph, you have a bunch of different libraries, right? And the best part is that if you're using Cloud Code, if you're using Codex, it kind of just does it for you. But I wanted to just go back to the previous point you were saying, right? I think breaking into AI is really easy. And I saw your green straw, so I'm assuming you're at the Starbucks. And I have a Starbucks that I typically go to. And there's this kid who was a barista. And I knew him for like 6 or 8 months, right? And he walked up to me one evening and he was like, I'm building this application using anti-gravity. It is to count the inventory that comes in, like the croissants and oat milk and all of the stuff that comes into Starbucks to sell, right, or to make your drinks. And he uses this phone application to scan the sheet with all the inventory details, and then it becomes easier for him to just count all the items to match it against the sheet, right? He used anti-gravity to put the entire application together. He was using Gemini APIs, right? And I think he was just getting stuck at OCR. It was not that accurate. And I just gave him an input like, change it to the latest Like I think back then it was Gemini 2.5. So I told him like just use Gemini 2.5 and that API will be better. So now this kid doing his masters and a part-time at Starbucks put the time to build an application without knowing how to build an Android app or using AI APIs or how to design the application. Actually just put it together in like 2 or 3 weeks on a free plan of anti-gravity, not even Gemini Pro or the Google Pro account, right? So I think it's just two things that you need. You need ambition and grit. I think that's about it to pretty much build anything.
Absolutely. You need to connect me to this guy. I would love to have him on the show and learn his journey, because we always blame our circumstances, right? Look at what UAE is. Look at what Singapore is, right? UAE 50 years ago, complete desert. Right, Singapore, the biggest slum in the world. Majority of the Singapore citizens back then were all addicted to opium, because when the ships docked, they gave them opium as tip, or and they got addicted to it. Majority of the women in Singapore back then were into the oldest trade in the world. The way they have moved is unbelievable, right? And if you go to pockets of old Singapore, or if you go to the airport where they have, where they have shown how old Singapore look, it actually looked just like India, right?
Yep.
And 200 or 300 years ago, these people actually migrated from Tamil Nadu, and they went there. That is why you see so many temples in Singapore. You see so many Hindu traditions in Singapore. So it's hats off to what countries like Singapore and UAE has done. It's exactly what you said. It's the grit that we're talking about, the mindset that we're talking about, and figuring out resources, right? So let's talk about resources right now. What resources, Fred, do you think that one should be able to stack up to, like how you said, start making $1,000 per app? Because that's a great way to break it down. I really like the way you broke it down. For everybody watching us, $1,000 to a few people might not be a lot of money. To a few people, it may be a decent amount of money. But if you multiply that into 10, maybe 3 or 4 months of your hard work out there, and let me tell you something. When VCs put in money, I've worked with a lot of VCs, and I've chewed their brains to understand what they're doing. When they invest in about 10 to 15 projects, or maybe even 100 projects, even if one project takes off, they have covered their deficit, right? They have covered their entire capital that they have invested. Imagine the same thing going out with you. You run 10 projects, and we're only looking at 10%, right? Like in sales, we say you make 10 calls, maybe one would close. But here you have 10 projects that you're running, 10 different great ideas, and one takes off. That one is exactly what will take you to the moon. Fred, tell us, what do we need to equip ourselves with?
What we need to what?
What tools and what stacks do we need to equip ourselves with to kind of at least get started with that $1,000 coming in?
Okay, so there's a few things I want to echo of Akash. So if you want to talk about technicalities, yeah. So for me, my tech stack is just called Code, Vercel, Superbase, Firecrawl, what is Obelisk. I use a lot of weird things. I can't remember now. There's a lot of MCPs that I use. Composio is a big one. There's too many. If you want to know what exactly I use, or I made actually a full resource kit for API for skills, MCPs, and whatnot, and plugins. So it's in. I'm not doing a plug for myself, but the resource is there.
No. You should. You totally deserve it. This is your moment. Go all out. Go chill yourself and chill everything that you're doing.
Sure. Cloudcode.sg. Cloudcode.sg. There is a page called resources. It's the top one called the resource kit. So just click on that. I have a full stack of all kinds of resources of everything you need. Okay, it's all there. So you can go there for the technical part. For the not so technical part, like what Akash said, is the most questions I get asked about is or comment is that they don't know how to build, even with the AI. My answer to them is very simple. Whatever you ask me, you repeat the same thing that you ask me back to your code. Why you ask me about, I don't know how to do this part. Then I say, okay, sounds good. Can you open your code? Can you type what you just said to me? I don't know how to type. You don't know how to type. What do you just say? I type I, don't type don't. Then one by one, then they just type like this. Yeah, try it. What, you won't die, guys. You ask a question to AI, they won't be like, hey, you stupid. Right? Nobody's judging you. So the thing is, a lot of people are afraid of I don't know, because outside in the future, in the outside built in public, they get judged. They feel shame because they don't know. But you're talking, if you're in your own room, you're talking to your AI with your Codex, your Claude, no one's gonna judge you. So just whack, just try, and then you learn from there. I have a lot of people in the community that I built. They came from zero. They came from all industries, FMCG. They came from healthcare. They came from compliance. They came from all kinds of industries, verticals, and they all learned how to build stuff. And I'm very proud of a few of them. They built a game. Do you know you can earn 30 cents for one ad view? So they just watch 3 ad views of playing a stupid. I'm not saying her game is stupid. You're playing any stupid game to watch 3 ads. You times 1,000 users, you have 90 cents times 1,000 users. You have $900 already. So it's not that hard, to be honest. So but I do have to say that to debug an APK is a freaking pain in the ass. But other than that, yeah, this is good. Yeah.
Okay, Akash, go ahead. We'll come back to what next, right?
No, I think Freddy pretty much covered it, right? And that's essentially what it is. I mean, I think almost everyone is aware of either ChatGPT or Claude as a chatbot, right? Like the simple screen. Just go there and ask. I think that it can create a guide for you. It can put together a PDF with a 30-day plan, a 60-day plan on how to get started with whatever you want to start with, right? I think it extends even beyond software at this point. Of course, yes, all of these agents are good at coding right now, but they kind of put together like really good plans to start off with pretty much anything, right? And just like what Freddy said, I think all it takes is go there and just type what you ask another human. That's about it.
And also one more thing I forgot is that we all think that all of us here on these 3 guys that you're seeing on the screen now, we see a lot of projects, a lot of people building whatever and news. So actually, sometimes we feel that everybody is building the AI, but actually, we are like 1% of the 1%. So actually, you think you are missing out a lot of things, or you don't know a lot of things. Yes, it might be true, but you are the 99%. So if you start building anything now, you are really on top of the curve at this moment. Which I say at this moment, okay? Because when it goes to scale, when it goes to adoption, okay, then you will lose out later on. But so now, while everything is still new, I would say please go ahead and try something.
I'm glad you said that. I know it is more than an hour that we agreed for, and especially Fred, for you, it's about 1 a.m. in Singapore. Can we do a couple of more questions? Is that okay with you guys?
As long as your audience still watching, I don't know who's watching.
No, our folks are there. I need to know from you one most important thing, Fred, at this point of time. What do you think are the questions that I'm not asking? What are the right questions I'm not asking you?
Every single person I met, they are trying to build the perfect product now. I believe that is the wrong thing to do. I believe you should build the project for tomorrow. So if you're building a project for tomorrow, it shouldn't be perfect now, because the AI models wouldn't be smart enough or capable enough to power that thing that you're trying to build. So what we always try to, what I actually try to, whenever I want to build something, I think about this. Is this AI for the future? If it's AI, if I am building for the future, am I able to make the perfect version now? If I can make a perfect version now, that means it's not AI for the future. Yeah, so that's one thing that I haven't met anyone that has thought like this. The only people that think like this are the actual people in Anthropic so far.
That's a good way to actually put it. I mean, if
think-
you've built something
I think
perfect now, that it's not going to scale, it's not going to be used in the future. Yeah, it makes so much sense.
And let me tell you this: I've worked with builders across the world, and I always tell them, launch a product and fix it on the way, because nothing is perfect, right? You need to look back at your community. You need to look back at the people who are using a product, keep taking their feedback and keep building on it. So I've been, that's what I've been telling them. Akash, what do you think in your industry? I'm not asking you the right questions.
I mean, I think it's about, I think, like two things, right? One, a good question right now would be, how much AI do you use? I think that's something that a lot of people are not looking at, or they're not optimizing, right? There's a lot of low hanging fruits that people can use right now, and they're not. It's like not using a smartphone at this point. For some reason, people don't understand that, right?
To what you're saying, it sounds so funny that because I use an iPhone 17 Pro Max, I feel the world is also using iPhone 17 Pro Max, and that is the truth in a way, because whenever I see anybody in Dubai or in India, between our network, we see the guys using an iPhone 17 Pro Max. But if you actually see, there are a lot of people in the world who perhaps are not visible to us on a day-to-day basis. They actually are using Android, or they are using an older version of iPhone. Because the way we look at it is a way that we are limited at times with our vision, right? We tend to develop a tunnel vision. I'm not saying that we tend to get snobby, but we get into a tunnel vision of saying that, hey, you know what? Of course, everybody uses AI. What are you talking, Akash? But that's not the case. That's clearly not the case. Fred, you have a question here. What are the AI tools that you're using in your current workflow? You did answer that question.
Yeah, but for the sake of it, I'll just do a quick one, a very quick one. Yeah, I'll just read through. I'm going to read through now. Okay. I use Composio, the GitHub integration, all Gmail products, Granted, Hugging Face, Virtual, Claude in Chrome, Control Chrome, Desktop Commander, 11 Labs, PDF Viewer, Singapore Data, Stripe, File System. No, File System is not. I'm sorry. What is the last one?
And what are you building with it? What have you been building with it? Is it only for education, or are you building a product?
I'm building a few products. But the products I can't say yet, because also under PLC. Because the problem is, when you're building for enterprise, you can't say. But you're building too small is so boring to say. so I'm not so sure. But other fun products is I built some apps, I built some games, I built some SaaS models which I hated afterwards because I realized it's useless. I have some thing I'm working on, which is AI companion, physical AI companion. Yeah, so that one, figuring that part out is quite fun. I'm doing what is that? Trying to do a wearable for the blind people. I want to do it as a phone for the blind, because they are, if you all can do a Google search, phone for the blind, you can see the results immediately. There haven't been any innovation. So I'm trying to figure out something for that as well, hardware and software. Yeah.
But
So
the Ray-Ban glasses that the Ray-Ban Meta glasses that Akash is wearing, I think can be a brilliant tool.
yeah, yeah,
Expensive.
yes,
It
yes,
is expensive. However,
yep,
China has got some great options for
yes.
less than $100.
Exactly. So that's what I mean by building for things that's not perfect yet. So I don't want to use Meta Ray-Bans because it's Meta and using their developer access sucks. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm waiting for Google's version instead, and from there, then I get developer access and all that is easier than the Meta's side.
No, that's right. I was actually trying to, kind of integrate my Meta glasses, get the stream out, right? And Meta has really locked it down. It's not developer friendly at all. And the
Yeah,
only way I can bypass it is either I stream to Instagram or do a WhatsApp call and then tap into that feed, or I need to create an entire application that runs on iOS, Android, and then get the stream that way onto a computer or something to have more processing, right? So
exactly.
it's bad right now. I tried
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah, that's why we can actually build the software first, the capabilities first, and when the hardware is available to us, then we can try if we can implement to each other, and that is where the innovation actually happens. And then when you have even better models or better GPS positioning and better latency, then you can see the whole thing grow to a usable level.
that's a great point, Freddie, what you brought up, because I think I've seen a lot of people, like especially when I go to like different universities, or I'm kind of coaching students or giving sessions. What kind of comes up is that I don't have the right hardware, or I don't have the right tools, right? And I tell them that I think the same example, right? People are like, they want to create a wearable device for the blind, and I'm like, what is your device based on? And it's supposed to be a camera. So I'm like, does your laptop have a camera? And then they say yes. And I'm like, build it with that. You don't need another camera. You don't need the camera to be on your body, right? You can build a substantial part of the application with your laptop camera, and then once it makes sense to you, then you can figure out how to get an actual camera. So the kind of, when you come up with an idea just to see a proof of concept, you don't really need the right hardware.
Fair. I was actually waiting for Fred to respond to you. So we see a lot of interesting developments happening. Karan, I think, has also sent a massive long message with the Google Doc link. I'm just going to remove it. I'll send it to you.
Is there a phishing link?
you know, yesterday we were talking about cybersecurity, and we were talking about how things are moving at a pace that we all need to be careful of. I received a wedding invitation a message from a friend who I've not met in like 10 years, okay? Because I don't live in India any year longer. And I was like, oh, interesting. But then when I was about to click on the wedding invitation, which generally is everyone trying to do, I saw it is a .apk file. Now, why will a wedding invitation be .apk file? Luckily, I don't use Android. Because just in case, if I would have clicked, my phone would have been compromised. So please be careful. This is the most basic. I'm still trying to search for that message where it is. Wait, I know his name.
Yeah, guys, these kind of scams are common. In fact, even those they have a lot of these job interview thingies coming up in LinkedIn, where they all scam you with links and all that. Yeah. So this one is so bad. Yeah. Just be careful, everyone. And by the way, if
I,
I guess the video will be here online as well. So Singapore Police Force, I'm trying to get you. I don't know. Please reply. We're doing an anti-scam thing with you. Thank you. Please respond.
in fact, I think Singapore police are really cool. I've seen some of their videos online, and I think someone who's working on their videos really has a sense of humor. And I think like the way these countries are working. In fact, even UAE, for that matter, they are. I think they just passed a resolution where they would have 80 agents doing stuff on the thing. Let's also talk about. Do you see governments other than the so-called developed countries that we are in right now, that's Fred and I? Uh, but anybody can take up that answer. Do you see governments adopting to agentic AI, or they think it's another trend? Akash, go ahead.
Um, yes, uh, as a part
Which
of.
ones do you know of any?
So right now, for example, from the city you lived at, Bangalore, right? Right now, you do have cameras being monitored through AI, right? Which is citywide, and there are several cities where this kind of an implementation is done, but without giving away too many details, because I cannot. There are governments slash uh, defense that are adopting AI in India right now, because we're working with some of them, and they do want heavy integration of AI. They have the right people there who understand technology. I think this kind of goes back to what Freddie said at the beginning of our stream, right? That you need the right leaders. I think the right leaders are coming into picture right now. They really understand technology. They are open to models from across the world because they do understand what open source is, right? Now I don't want to get into certain things where some models from some countries are not appreciated across other countries and they can't be used, right? But these folks understand that there is no problem with such models because they are open source at the end of the day, right? They're not streaming back information. There is no harm as such, right? So
Interesting to know.
yeah, so I mean, I would say that the leaders are open and our governments are open to adopting technology right now, and potentially, within the next couple of years, I think we would see a lot of AI working in the background, doing a lot of stuff, right? Whether it's optimization or defense or just identifying a lot of things which are not that easily done today with like general cameras, right? So uh, definitely, it's kind of coming into. It's just
Fred?
scale is a problem with India. Yeah,
Yeah, because we are such a massive country. Fred,
exactly.
what's your take on what are you seeing with governments across the ASEAN region?
Okay, so I think a lot of people are on the fence right now. Very simple. They are on the wait and watch thing, and then even sometimes, even within Singapore, which is a very AI forward country, we can also deliver certain contradicting messages. So, for example, Singapore, we push AI a lot, and even there was a recent article in Singapore that our foreign minister, Dr. Vivian Balakrishnan,
I think
he
I read about it. Yeah.
yes, he shared his they deployed something a self-hosted agent running as a second brain, blah blah blah, helping him do stuff. But at the same time, I think 2 weeks ago, I am in the agency from Singapore also saying that guys, please don't deploy OpenClaw or be careful deploying OpenClaw for security reasons. That kind of thing. I think just make sure you're safe. Okay, not don't do it. So there's all kinds of warnings and all kinds of undoing it. Yeah. So from the government point of view, I think it's very hard for autonomous agents. It's very hard for them to directly go behind it directly because of the security. Unless there's very good safe guardrails along it. But I feel they can push Anthropic, OpenAI, Cursor, and stuff like that because you see the safety guidelines or what you cannot do within the Anthropic's ecosystem, right? So safeguarded until there are a lot of limitations. But this is because there are a lot of these limitations. That's why governments can push them for them. Yeah. So for example, let's very stupid example. Okay, I cannot use the official Google MCP. So big companies. Okay, so I cannot use a Google MCP to send out an email or delete an email. You know, you can draft an email. They cannot send an email for you. However, I need to use like a third party. I will use Composio, and then I connect Gmail with Composio. Then I can send out an email or delete an email. So they really need to, the rules are set such that the large companies, they don't allow certain things. Okay, so that also creates the barrier to technology. But also, what the techies, we would know there's a lot of other smaller what do you call it, brands or MCPs, whatever tools that we can use that we can bypass. So if you're going back to the question, sorry, I go to one big round. Going back to the question, are countries supporting, and which countries are supporting? I think a lot of countries want to support, especially countries like Singapore, but actually showcasing that they are using, they might be using behind the scenes, but they are not going to announce very broadly until we have certain scale and adoption across the world. Then because they have to be like very safe. Anything happen, it's not my fault. But anything good happens, like, oh, we're already using it. Yeah, you know.
That makes sense.
Fair. Yeah, fair. I think we have had a great discussion towards the future. Um, and the future of money is right now agentic AI, because one person can actually do work of maybe 4 people, right? Let me not exaggerate, 400 people, but 4 people work easily can be done through agentic AI. And you know, it's not always about making money, but it's also about spending your money wisely. So I think agentic AI does that for you. So for everybody watching us, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. I hope that we have learned things that would actually change our mindset. Uh, in fact, Freddie, I would like to have you back again, maybe next week, and we do a complete hands-on Claude and how to kind of level up from 0 to 1. We would love to have you, because yesterday we had Mo from Annie Mocha Minds, and we built agents live in front of our audience. I think that reached about 500,000 views on Binance Live. So okay, wait, hold on, we have a comment. uh, let's see, Weber, you said you use agentic AI. Which ones do you use to automate your email and how it serves you? How severe it is? What I
Secure,
don't
secure.
understand that. How secure? Okay. See, uh, I have given my agent a different email ID to use. Right, my agent doesn't have my email ID, so I think that is one good thing that I've kept it separate. Uh, then what agentic AI I use? Hello Mind from Annie Mocha. I think it is fantastic. You can set it up like in 2 minutes. And luckily for me, I know the guys who are working behind it. So whenever I have a problem, I reach out to them and they help me out, as and when they are available. So that's what I do. And then we have another question from Karan. Thank you guys. Okay, you're welcome, Karan. Yes, Fred, you wanted to add on something if you remember your point.
Oh, okay. Can we do it in 2 weeks? Next week,
Yeah, sure.
I have an event every day of the weekday. Every single day, Monday to Friday, I have an event and a collaboration. And then this week, today, I spoke in 2 events already.
That's the way. That's the way. That's the way.
That,
And
give me a bit more time.
bro, I think you're doing a fantastic job. This is like being an evangelist, right? Back in the day, we had these evangelists travel from every part of the world, and we had them spreading Christianity or spreading Islam at different parts of the world. We are here. We did that with Web3. We did that with Bitcoin. We did that with the decentralized identity, and I think we're doing the same here. We're going all out and talking about agentic AI, because I think all of us listening to this should take this very seriously, because the world is adopting, and the faster you adopt, the faster you learn, and the faster you grow. Thank you for being a part of the conversation, Akash. Thank you so much, and really proud of your growth. Keep growing it. Keep growing that way. I'm glad that I met you when you were in your seventh standard, and look at you now, killing it in this space. And Fred, my man, you come from one of my favorite cities in the world. Hong Kong, Bali, Singapore are one of my favorite cities in the world, and I love the ecosystem of Singapore. It is very well connected. Like every event that I've been a part of at like Iron Fiber, Ironclad, the golf thing, I've met some of the best people over there. And and Singapore is so organized. You want to do events, go to MBS, right? You want to take one hall or you want to take all the halls. Depends on the people that are coming in. Do that. So. Well, they say that you pay what you get, and Singapore is a true example of you pay what you get. But I want both of you to, on my behalf, Fred, you to go and try out some oyster omelette and some Italy with that chili oil in the hawker stalls. And Fred, please, sorry, and Akash, please go and eat some pani puri for me. I really miss them.
Done.
Thank you, and everybody watching us, thank you so much. We go live every day. Tomorrow, with who are we going live? I can't remember with who are we going live tomorrow. But I think we have some interesting guests lined up. This is our 35th episode, and we go live every single weekday. So please follow us, like us, comment, so that we can bring you up on stage. And especially if you have something interesting to teach our audience or teach me, you're most welcome to join the panel. Everybody, thank you once again.
By the way, if